Walking alone, from school horror stories, English. 1 year ago, as the looming shadow of our final exams drew nearer, I found myself drowning in the sea of uncompleted preparations. A dark cloud of despair hung over me, and I grasped for any opportunity to salvage my academic fate. In this twisted tale, the school's library, usually a sanctuary of knowledge, took on an eerie demeanor. The oppressive weight of impending exams led the school to make an unsettling decision. The library, once a safe haven, would extend its operating hours until midnight. An attempt to offer solace to desperate students turned into a sinister invitation. My residence, conveniently situated near the school, should have been my fortress of focus. Yet, like a moth drawn to a flickering flame, I felt an irresistible pull towards the library's hushed recesses. The library became my midnight lair, where I hoped to tame the monstrous beast of impending exams. One fateful evening, I ventured out at the stroke of 6. The library welcomed me with open arms, its eerie silence drowning out the world beyond its walls. The minutes melded into hours, lost in the labyrinth of textbooks and notes. It was only when the clock struck 10 that I realized the abyss of time that had swallowed me whole. Panic, like tendrils of darkness, began to tighten its grip around me. At this unholy hour, the library stood shrouded in silence, its emptiness amplifying the sense of dread. Normally a hub of intellectual activity, it had become a tomb of knowledge, a crypt of secrets. Amidst my race against time, a sound unlike any other wormed its way into my ears. A haunting, shuffling noise, a macabre dance of footsteps on forgotten volumes. The rhythm of my heartbeat matched the cadence of those foreign steps. An otherworldly chill seized me, and I bolted from the library, the grip of fear fueling my flight. The corridor leading to freedom stretched ahead, its narrow walls closing in on me. And then, at the end, a spectre awaited. A woman, cloaked in shadows, stood there, her presence both tangible and intangible. Her form seemed fractured, a distorted reflection in a shattered mirror. Each step towards her was like a descent into a pit of unease. My voice trembled as I challenged the void with a futile question. "Who's there?" Her response was not spoken. Instead, she vanished like smoke in the wind, leaving behind a lingering chill. But the ordeal was far from over. The once familiar street beyond the library's walls had transformed into a realm of desolation. Streets that once teemed with life now lay barren. My journey home became a nightmarish odyssey, the emptiness swallowing the echoes of my own footsteps. In the midst of this chilling wasteland, an ominous shadow slithered its way toward me. The ground seemed to writhe as if in agony, casting a monstrous silhouette that reached out for me. When I summoned the courage to lift my gaze, I was met with the visage of a woman, grotesque and broken. Her tattered attire barely clung to her emaciated frame, her body contorted in ways that defied nature. Panic surged through my veins, freezing me in place. Every instinct screamed at me to flee, to escape the clutches of this grotesque apparition. As she approached, her vacant eyes fixed on me, I felt as though I was being drawn into an abyss of despair. A guttural whisper emerged from her twisted lips, words that clawed at the fringes of my sanity. Her question hung in the air like a curse. coiling around me with spectral fingers. In desperation, I pointed, a feeble attempt to divert her attention. She moved away, a limp in her step, fading into the darkness. Relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. The air itself seemed to grow heavy with dread as a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence. Her voice, more a wail of anguish than a scream, shattered the fragile equilibrium. "She is here," the words echoed, an augury of doom that reverberated through my very soul. The next memories are a blur, a mosaic of fear and darkness. I woke on the precipice of oblivion, my neighbor's concerned face peering down at me. He recounted a harrowing tale. Agatha, a woman consumed by grief after losing her daughter, had returned as a restless spirit. Her presence had become a malevolent force, a specter that stalked the halls of Eden Hill School and its surroundings. A mother's undying devotion had birthed a horror that transcended the boundaries of life and death. The nights that followed that harrowing encounter with Agatha's tormented spirit were filled with dread. Sleep became elusive, as every shadow seemed to harbor the potential for her re-emergence. I was trapped in a cycle of fear and insomnia, my mind a battleground between reason and the unexplainable. My once beloved library transformed into a chamber of horrors, its shelves laden not with books, but with specters that danced at the edge of my perception. The quiet murmurs of study groups turned into ghostly whispers that sent shivers down my spine. The flickering lights cast eerie shadows, each corner harboring a secret. Desperation drove me to seek solace in the daylight hours, but even the sun's warm embrace couldn't fully dispel the lingering chill of Agatha's presence. I attempted to immerse myself in my studies, to regain control over my life and sanity. Yet, with every page turned, a whisper of fear brushed against my consciousness. As the days stretched into weeks, I found myself becoming consumed by an obsession. I needed to uncover the truth behind Agatha's tragic tale. With trepidation as my guide, I delved into the dark history of Eden Hill School, sifting through records, archives, and tales passed down through generations. The deeper I delved, the more unsettling truths I uncovered. Agatha's story was a tragedy that transcended time, seeping into the very foundations of the school. Her daughter's accidental death in 1998 had set off a chain of events that bound her spirit to the school's corridors, eternally searching for her lost child. The school's faculty had long been aware of Agatha's presence, though they kept the haunting hushed, attributing strange occurrences to mere coincidences or imagination. But the darkness was undeniable, and Agatha's yearning grew stronger with each passing year. The sinister atmosphere that surrounded Eden Hill School was a testament to her insatiable grief. Determined to break the cycle of torment, I sought counsel from local legends and mediums, desperately seeking a way to put Agatha's spirit to rest. The journey led me through eerie seances, cryptic rituals, and the guidance of those who claim to possess a connection with the supernatural. In the heart of the night, amidst a swirl of incense and whispered incantations, I confronted Agatha's presence once again. The air grew dense, charged with energy that transcended the boundaries of our world. With a voice that echoed from beyond, Agatha's ghostly figure emerged before me. Trembling but resolute, I implored her to find peace, to let go of the anguish that had tethered her spirit for so long. I painted a picture of a reunited mother and daughter in a realm beyond, a place where their bond could finally transcend the limitations of mortality. Agatha's form wavered, torn between the yearning for her daughter's embrace and the tether that bound her to the earthly plane. A spectral tear traced a path down her cheek, and with a final, heart-wrenching gaze, she faded into the ether, her presence dissipating like smoke. The night air grew still, and the weight that had hung over Aiden Hill School lifted, replaced by an eerie calm. The legend spoke of a newfound tranquility that settled over the institution, a reprieve from the darkness that had plagued its halls for years. As time passed, the memory of that fateful encounter began to blur, softened by the distance of a year. The once haunted library now held the whispers of students striving for knowledge, no longer overshadowed by the specter of Agatha's grief. But in the quiet moments of the night, when the world is shrouded in darkness and the wind carries a faint echo of distant cries, I can't help but wonder, does Agatha truly rest, her anguish replaced by serenity, or does a lingering trace of her yearning still haunt the shadows, a reminder that some stories never truly find their end?